In this video, I'm going to give you all the tactics that you need to reduce your cost of acquisition. I'm going to give you some easy tactics that you can follow, which are going to be to do with your show up, reminders and incentives, offer percentage, and if you need to use a 1 or 2 step method for your calls, whether they're actually booking just one call and have another call after. And I'm going to go through all of those tactics with you in this video to reduce down your CAC. By the end of this video, you will know how to reduce your cost of acquisition. And you will also have a bunch of tactics to follow on actually implementing those today. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is Usman Kiani. I'm the founder of Guided Growth. We're the UK's leading sales training consulting business. And today I'm going to give you all the tricks that we've used to drive acquisition costs down, as well as some of the sales tactics that we have within our sales process. Now, just to go straight into it, the cost of acquisition needs to actually be as low as possible. If it is not, it will hurt your business overall. Now, if you think of a lot of businesses within the info marketing space, they should be at 30 to 50% margins. So many business owners that we speak to, they come to us and they have 20% margins, they have 15% margins, 25% margins. And I'm asking these founders, these business owners that are a lot of the times making between 1 and 10 million a year. We look at their data and we think, why are you not actually making any profit? Well, the first thing that we look at is their cost of acquisition. And when they're acquiring clients for extortionate amounts of money, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 per client, and they're selling a product that's $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, it a lot of the times does not make sense. And we look at the simple tactics that they're doing within their sales process and by tweaking a few things. Now, the first thing is the show ratio. If you've got 10 sales calls booked, and those 10 sales calls, each of those calls cost you $200, that's $2,000 in actually those sales calls being booked for you. Now, if half of them turn up, that's cost you now $2,000 for 5 calls. So each call now is worth $400. So your cost of appointment is higher, which means your cost of acquisition will be higher because your sales reps aren't going to be closing everyone. They're going to be closing 30% if they're good. Now, if you can tactically look at where your show ratio is right now, let's say it's not where it should be, which is 75%. Let's say it's currently at 35 to 50%. We have a lot of business owners that come to us with a 30% show ratio, 50% show ratio, and we look within their sequences. The first thing that we look at is what is the workflow behind the appointment being booked. So we look at how many emails are going out, how many texts are going out, what's the cadence of those emails and texts going out, and what kind of information is being sent. And I'll give you an example that we've implemented into a business owner just recently, and it shot up his show ratio by 20% within a week. After a call was being booked, he would have an email go out to every single person who booked that call saying, hey, welcome, I'm really excited to have a call with you, confirming the appointment. And the next email will be dripped through and they will just get a sequence of a bunch of emails. And this client specifically was using HubSpot. And now within HubSpot, you can't send messages out to the US. Like on Go High Level, you can just text everyone, but you can only send messages out to the US, within HubSpot. And now what we actually did was we used an external SMS dialer that we actually put in. We added a workflow in, so then now he can actually send messages out as within that cadence of actually a call being booked. So we added the text messages in. The next thing that we added in was we got him to make a YouTube video explaining what will be happening on the call, but going into a lot more depth about their product, about their service, what they actually do, a bit about the company, and he uploaded it on YouTube, and that YouTube link will be within the first email. By adding those two things in, more information and text messages, we shot up the show ratio from 50% to 70% simply within a week by just tweaking those things. So a lot of the times the show ratio is very simple things. And the easiest thing that most people miss is you should be getting your setters or your closers to call up their daily appointments that day. So if your closer comes in at 9 a.m., at 8:45, the closer might come in, get to his desk, and see that sales rep has 6, 7 calls. They should be calling those calls back to back and just saying, hey, just confirming a call for later today. We got great, or a WhatsApp message. Even a WhatsApp message is great, a call is good. Just these simple processes, most people are just missing them. They're just not putting these things in, and that's why the show ratio is low. Remember, on the prospect side, they also forget. They don't remember. If things aren't mentioned enough times, it doesn't seem that as important. The pain that they had that day when they're actually booking that call, later on, a few days later, they think, it's not really that bothered, not really that fussed anymore. And then a massive thing that helps show ratio is on Saturdays, what we actually do now for our clients is we've actually told some clients not to even take calls on Saturdays. Now, look, I come from an environment that we want to take sales calls every single day, but we look at the show ratio on certain days. For this client, the show ratio on a Saturday was at 10% compared to the rest of the week, which is a lot higher. So what we did was we just said we're not going to take sales calls on Saturdays, and then we're only going to offer them on Mondays and Tuesdays and throughout the rest of the week. By not taking them on Saturday, the salesperson wasn't waiting around all day and getting demoralized by people not turning up. So we made that one tweak. A lot of the times I'm a big advocate for like taking sales calls 7 days a week, because I do think a business should be active 7 days a week. But in this scenario, we actually took them off for that business. So no sales calls on Saturday. So those things will massively help you increase the show ratio and reduce your CAC, because if more people are showing up, that means your CAC is going down. Now, the next thing we're going to cover is reminders and incentives. For your clients, a lot of the times, or your prospects, you want to be sending out reminders which we messaged in their workflow, but incentives for them showing up. An incentive is also like a reminder, so I'll put it in like a reminder / incentive, but an incentive for them showing up is we will a lot of the times mention to them. I'll give you 2 examples here. So we'll say to them, if you turn up to the call, we'll go over everything with you and just give you value on what things you need to be covering. So that's like one way. The other way what we do is when some businesses have a 2-call close, so the first call is all about information gathering and the second call is more about the proposal, what we would do is we give them a reason to show up to the next call. So we'll say, great, in this call, the first call that we would speak about, you can leave your wallet at home. There's nothing that's going to be sold to you. We just want to understand everything about your business. Plus, any questions that you have, we'll be able to answer them straight away. It's an incentive. You've dropped their guard. You've told them not to bring their wallet. Then at the end of that call, we'll give another incentive and we'll say, if you turn to the next call, we'll share everything that you need to be doing and share what we can actually do for your business and how we can help you. So I share that incentive of why they should actually be coming up to the next call. So that's a massive win. The next thing is the offer percentage. With the offer percentage, now let's say again in this scenario, 10 sales calls and 7 of them showed up. Out of those 7 that showed up, we know we've got a 70% show ratio. Great, we're happy with that. But how many of those 7 people actually got an offer presented to them? Now, offer percentage is a dictation of like, was that sales lead quality good? Or was the salesperson doing a good enough job to qualify them and give them an offer? Because we look at the close rate, but we also look at the offer rate first. Now, if there's 7 calls that are booked, I'm gonna give you 10 calls that have showed up because it's just gonna be easier for the example. So if 10 calls have shown up after you might have booked 14 or 15, so 10 calls show up to your live calls, and then now how many of them are you gonna give an offer to? Let's say you give an offer to 7 of them. That's a 70% offer ratio, because when you measure that metric within your business of how many people actually got an offer, you'll be able to work out, are these leads the right quality? Is the salesperson pushing at the right time, giving the offer? Because the higher the offer rate percentage, the higher chances that they're going to actually close that person because they're offering the deal to the right people. If you're getting a really low offer percentage, you're going to know that you're not really getting qualified deals. You're not getting qualified leads. So that's when you look at your media buyer, you look at your media team, you look at your ad agency, and you think, why are the leads not qualified? Why are they not answering those questions? And a lot of the times, we can sieve that out by adding some more questions into the type form or to the questions on the appointment booking stage, because we'll look at what are the problems and pains of that person, why they're not the right people when they're not giving the offer. So why are they not getting the offer? We'll ask the salespeople, why do you think these people aren't the right fit? Then we might add a question into that type form, which will then deter those people to give more offer percentage. Because if we're getting a lot of people, 6, 7 people turning up to calls that aren't the ideal client, that aren't their ideal customer, you know what will happen to your sales team? They'll get frustrated because they'll say, we're giving all this time to calls, we're commission only, we're not even getting paid anything. So we actually manage them really correctly by giving them the best opportunity to sell, by giving them the best data. Another example of offer percentage is if you have setters that are triage calling and pushing people into sales calls, if the offer percentage is incredibly low, a lot of the times they're not sending over qualified people. They're not qualifying people in that triage qualification. They're not checking their pain points are relevant to the offer that you sell. So you need to be looking at, are your setters actually doing a great job of actually asking those questions as well? And the last thing is, do you need to have a 1 or a 2-step process with your calls? Your CAC, a lot of the times we'll find so many businesses have a 2-step close when they could just have a 1-step close. And I've even seen 3-step closes in some businesses. And remember, every stage it drops people out because some people just won't turn up again. So I look at the absolute minimum that lead will need in their journey. Can we do it off 1 call? If not, why do we need 2 calls? What is the reason that we need to go on 2 calls? What is it broken in our system? I've seen 3 calls a lot of the times. Unless you're doing enterprise deals, you're doing massive deals, you do not need a pipeline that goes on and on. Especially in the info marketing space when you're selling high ticket courses, when you're selling information, you just need 1, if not 2. Like recently I did a mystery shop with an ad company and I saw that they did actually a 2-call close. There was no reason for them to do a 2-call close. And this is an ad agency that's incredibly popular on YouTube. And I did a mystery shop with them and I realized they're doing a 2-call close when they don't need to. They gave me the same cookie cutter offer that they were giving everyone. And there was no reason for them to do that. And I actually got really deterred from working with them because even though I was mystery shopping, I was really inclined of working with someone from my YouTube, but I didn't end up working with them just because I saw that they weren't very productive. And I remember letting the sales closer know. So you need to look at your 1-step or your 2-step and really think, do you need to have as many steps? Can you drop a step out? Can you make it more streamlined? And then if it's more streamlined, how do you get more offers? If you can give more offers, then can you give more incentives and reminders to those people and actually get the show-up ratio as high as possible? If you're doing all of those 4 things, you will drive your cost of acquisition down. Remember, one key component of cost of acquisition, which we find is most people don't add their marketing cost, don't add their video editing cost, don't add every cost to do with marketing. They'll only look at their ad spend. We actually add everything together and then we work out the cost of acquisition. So use this video to be able to drive your cost of acquisition down and to make more sales because more people are actually showing up and buying from you. If you like this video, like, share and subscribe. On this side of the screen, you'll be able to see our next video for sales and all the tactics that you need to be able to develop your sales side of your business. And on this side, you can subscribe because only 1% of our current viewers actually subscribe to our channel. So subscribe and follow the next video. I'll see you on the next one.